Hello, everybody, and welcome to Living Christy Ministries. The NBA has a problem, and it's probably not the problem you're thinking of. You're probably thinking of the aspiration scandal, or maybe of the fact that the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers, who just sold it for $2.5 billion more dollars than what he bought it for, I believe that's the number, who also is under federal investigation. Maybe you're thinking about that because that just happened. Maybe you're thinking those are the angles that we're about to go at, but we're going to go at an angle. We're not going to quite go there because we legally can't, but there's something happening within the NBA and really the world around us that they don't want us to know about. It began in 2019 when Kawhi Leonard was a free agent, and he was the biggest free agent in the field. He had the potential of going to a third team and becoming the first player in NBA history to win Finals MVP on 3 different franchises. Today, that right belongs to LeBron James and has been completely forgotten that he has even won that achievement. And it should be noted, Kawhi Leonard hasn't been anywhere near the NBA Finals since 2019. I believe the closest he's gotten was the Conference Finals. In 2019, the 3 teams that he was considering were his current team, the Toronto Raptors, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Los Angeles Clippers, with the idea being that he wanted to go to LA, the team he initially requested a trade from when he demanded to leave San Antonio. He had certain demands, though, that were not revealed until much later. Those demands we'll get to in a minute. Let's stick with what was known at the time. At the time, the demands were simple. We have the 3 teams, and he met with all 3 of them, if I remember correctly. And it was simple. Whoever leaks the information will be the team that he doesn't go to. So the understanding was the Lakers leaked and Toronto leaked, and therefore he chose the Clippers. Simple case closed. Until he underwent investigation, as you'll see in my timeline. There was an investigation into Kawhi for how it ended up coming to him joining the Clippers. As we find out through Pablo Torre's investigation on his podcast and through the years that he's been doing this investigation, and for the rest of this video, I'll refer to him simply as Pablo. As we found out, his demands, the ones I referred to earlier, were for him to receive part ownership of the Toronto Raptors and the Maple Leafs until they found out that those 2 teams were under the same ownership. So he couldn't do that, and he wanted all these other things that were going to circumvent the cap, and Toronto said, yeah, we can't do that. And then he went to the Lakers with the exact same request, and they're like, yeah, we can't do that. And then somehow the deal gets done with the Clippers, hence the investigation, and somehow the investigation gets cleared and things move forward, only for the aspiration deal to get done later, hidden under the extension. I believe it was the first extension under his tenure with the Clippers. It's all in my timeline, which I don't have in front of me right now because my computer's not loading and I can't do the 2 things simultaneously. But the aspiration deal gets done under the table as a hidden endorsement where he doesn't have to do any work. He's just getting the money under the table. as far as we understand it. All the reporting has been done by Pablo, and the Clippers are a part of it, and we're gonna just keep it low key as far as what we're talking about here, because it's not really the big thing. That's not what that's what the media is talking about. They're talking about aspiration. They're talking about IFRC, this soccer team. They're talking about this Halo Megadome thing that's in the stadiums that recently came out. They're talking about all these LLCs, but so they're talking about the idea that Kawhi could maybe get suspended a number of games. People like Stephen A are saying that he should be suspended for the whole year. They're looking at Ballmer and the fact that he's a billionaire. And how can a billionaire, how do you hit the pockets of a billionaire? You really can't. So we'll take away their draft picks. We'll hit them some other way. But what they're missing is the RIFC connection and this new connection to it's like Dodtronics or something like that. But it's the RIFC one that really caught my attention, because what Pablo reported was that when Aspiration went bankrupt, the money moved to RIFC, and that's something that is intriguing, particularly when you consider that the governor of Rhode Island, that's what the RI stands for, Rhode Island, and then the FC stands for whatever the soccer team's name is calling for the books to be open because of the hidden investment and how that money was supposed to go to the housing and instead went to funding a soccer stadium that the people really, from what I understand, didn't want. They wanted housing for their people, and instead they got this $1 million soccer stadium, and the people who own the stadium or who participated in it, who own RIFC, are saying that we can't disclose. We have privacy, but yet there's another NBA player who invested in it, whose name is well less known than Kawhi Leonard, who they publicized and put out there and invested, totally endorsed, and everything else. So it just has question mark written all over it. And to add to that, there's a guy named Mr. Big, believed to be the CEO, written on it, like with RIFC, and it just has this word that I'm not going to use because nobody else has used it yet. But when you dig into these things, the money got moved into this hidden account that's being kept off the books, being hidden away, along with the other account that was that the whistleblower said was intentionally used to circumvent the cap. So you already got somebody whistleblowing saying that they did it, like they intentionally did it, but you got this other thing over here that's going somewhere else that the NBA is not even, and the NBA totally blew this thing off. The NBA said, what does this have to do with that? And that's what this video is about. The NBA is solely concerned about the salary cap issue and keeping their face. But I'm here to tell you there's something bigger going on, something that no media member is going to tell you about until the feds come knocking, until the feds actually do their job. And I think it's coming. I don't know when it's coming, But if the connection is what I just laid out to you, what my timeline lays out to you, what Pablo's reporting lays out to you, I believe Pablo unraveled and his reporting something that is far greater than a simple salary cap violation. Because if it was a simple salary cap violation like Joe Smith, like DeAndre Jordan, why is it taking 10 months for them to issue a suspension? Why is it taking 10 months for them to do something to Steve Ballmer? Why is it delaying? Why is Adam Silver backtracking his comments? It's because they know there's something bigger at play. They know they're touching on harder ground. They're going to have to do something that they don't want to do. They're trying to dodge it by all means possible. But at the end of the day, they know there's no way around it. They know this trade's not going down, but at the same time, they got to keep presenting it like it's going to go down, because otherwise they have to admit defeat. They have to admit the scandal. And then every other team, every other trade is going to be looked at in skepticism, and they can't have that. They got to protect their image. And so what they're ultimately doing is covering up a potential alleged scandal, and I believe the writing is there. And of course, this is all alleged. Everything from 2019 to today is just all alleged until proven guilty in the court of law. Even with the whistleblower and the alleged stuff, but it's just frustrating when you hear all the NBA and analysts on the TV saying this trade's still going through. We expect it to go through sometime in 2027. No, why are they saying 2027? Because a federal investigation is still at play, and a deeper federal investigation is likely to come. And, oh, by the way, Kawhi Leonard's contract is only for the rest of the year. So the likelihood of him playing again, I would say, is in jeopardy ever again, would be my view. But just, why are we talking about this? Because there's corruption and scandal and cover-up happening all throughout the world. And my mission here at Living Christian Ministries is to bring light into the darkness. And if we sit back and allow these scandals and allow these cover-ups to continue to take place, to continue to overwhelm our culture, if we continue to allow these, I want to be careful here because, again, it's all alleged, but if we continue to allow those who are criminals, not saying that those who have been mentioned in this video are criminals, but if we continue to allow those who are criminals, and again, there are those who have been put in prison for this particular case that we are talking about, and I believe if the Pandora box continues to get open, more people could end up in prison, and that's what the league is most afraid of, and that's why they're trying to keep Pablo from continuing to investigate. Adam Silver said that himself. Like, the longer the investigation goes on, the more information is going to come out. Like, let's just stop this thing from continuing forward. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but ultimately they recognize that this thing could continue forward. Like, we already have an active sitting governor who knew about this. He knew about it. He was at a Clippers game talking with RIFC about it. It was in his notes, according to Pablo. It was in his government agenda to be at that game purposely to work with RIFC. Like, and he's calling for the opening of the books simply to cover for his own doing in the event. It's just mind-boggling how many people could be tied up in this one thing, and they're gonna present it like uh, it's a it's a basketball thing when it's much larger than that. And I'm not saying what the much larger word is, but again, that's just potentially much larger. It's up to the federal government to decide whether it's something they're actually going to pursue or not. But at the end of the day, we all have to stand before our Creator. We all have to stand before the light, and the light shines brightly in the darkness. No matter how dark our souls be, the light will always shine. And we have to trust that no matter how corrupt the world around us be, we can't be afraid to speak the truth. And I think this just like hurts because there's so many of us out there trying to earn our money, and it just hurts that if these allegations are true, that there's so many people out there that are rich. Like I mean, we got a billionaire out there who just sold the Lakers, and he's selling to get potentially again allegedly they're allegedly saying that he likely sold to get that extra $2 billion because of the legal fees he's going to have to endure. He's already a billionaire, and they're saying he needs $2 more billion because of the legal. Like, and you got people in the middle class working their what's off just to try to get by. Like, and you got people doing this. Like, it's just mind-boggling that this is the society that we live in. Billionaires are cheating the system and stealing money, potentially, and the working class are just suffering, trying to get a dollar, just trying to get a dollar, just trying to get their degree to utilize a job, just trying to get a job sometimes. And we haven't even talked about the people who are homeless, all the veterans who served our country, went to Afghanistan, Iraq, the Ukraine, or wherever it be, who fought in the world wars, and who are homeless there on the street because our country didn't care enough to actually help them. They took their best years of their life and just let them, when their psychological elements of the war wore them down, when their physical bodies gave out on them, when something happened to them and they ended up on the streets. And yeah, we can say that in order for them to get better, they gotta want it for themselves, but at the same time, that's not what you can do for your country. Ask what your country can do for you. Or ask, I think I said it backwards. Ask what you can do for your country. They did something for their country, but the country needs to do something for these people. We can clear the streets of Pittsburgh. We can clear the streets of LA. It just takes love and encounter. When's the last time you actually encountered a homeless person? When's the last time you actually loved someone on the street? When's the last time you actually cared to spend time with somebody like that? We just brush them off like they're some useless piece of whatever. For all we know, that person could have died out there just so we could be free. Think about that the next time they ask you for money, the next time they ask you for food, next time they ask you for a drink. We have no idea what these people enduring out there. And yeah, there's panhandlers out there. They need our prayers too. The reality is, there's people out there stealing money. There's people out there breaking laws. There's people out there doing all these evil things. And we can be weighed down by the darkness of the world around us, or we can stand up and be part of the solution and do something like this. Get a camera, get a phone, get a whatever, but even more importantly, get out into the world and start being a part of the light.